Okay, we are on Thursday, set 10, day 1. We are going to get to do PEMDAS, which is y'all's favorite. So anytime you see an expression, anytime you see PEMDAS, remember, I want you to write this immediately on your paper. Even if you think you won't forget, I want you to write this, okay? This reminds us, this is the order, parentheses, exponents. Multiplication and division are in a box. They have the same value. You do them in order from left to right, no matter which one comes first. Addition and subtraction also in a box. They have equal value. You do them left to right, left to right, no matter what order they are in your expression, okay? That's why they're in a box. So we look, do we have any parentheses? Yes, we actually have brackets and parentheses. So we're going to do everything inside here first. This is like its own little PEMDAS, okay? So inside our little PEMDAS here, do we have parentheses? Yes. So we're going to do 4 times 2 first. Remember, you cross it off and you write underneath what you just did, the answer. We are finished with the parentheses because we solved that. So we're just going to bring down everything else we have. We're going to bring down our brackets because we do not have that math done yet. We're going to bring down everything else in our PEMDAS, and we're looking at our second row. We go back to our PEMDAS. Do we have parentheses? Yes, essentially we do, guys, because we have brackets. So we're going to do 15 minus 8, which is 7. We're done with the brackets, so we don't need to bring those down, but we have to bring down everything else we still haven't used. So we have 56 divided by 7. So 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35, 42, 49, 56. So 7 times 8 is 56. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. So the answer to our expression, our upside down triangle, is 8. All right. We have 2/5 plus 4/10. Remember, every decimal has a fraction. Every fraction has a decimal. So we know that we can't add a fraction and a decimal together. We're going to have to turn one or the other into each other. Well, it's easiest to turn this into a fraction, guys, because we can say it, 4/10. Well, if we write 4/10, that's what that decimal is a fraction. So we know that we want to write these again vertically because we want to be able to find a common denominator. We always circle the largest denominator. We ask ourselves first, does 5 go into 10? Is 5 a factor of 10? If that answer is yes, makes it super easy. We already have our common denominator because it's already circled. Okay, 10 is bigger than 5, so we know that 10 is our common multiple or our common denominator. Our 10 didn't change, so our 4 doesn't change. How'd we get from 5 to 10? We did times 2. So whatever we do on the bottom, we have to do on the top, and 2 times 2 is 4. We are adding, so 4 plus 4 is 8. Our denominator stays the same, so we have 8/10. Y'all, we're looking at 2 even numbers, so we know we're not done. What makes 8? 2 times 4. Does 2 go into 10? Yes. Does 4 go into 10? No. So the only common factor they have is 2, so our super one is 2 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. I can hear you guys right now when I ask, how do we know we're done? Yay, we're 1 away. So when our numerator is 1 away from the denominator, we say 1 away, and we know we are done. All right. Okay, Marla cleaned 14 houses and 15 office buildings last month. She spent 4 hours at each of the places she cleaned. Which equation can be used to find the total number of hours that she spent cleaning? Okay, well, if we didn't have any of this down here and we were going to write this ourselves, she cleaned 14 houses and 15 offices, and she spent 4 hours at each place. So the first thing we would do is we would add 14 plus 15 because we'd want to get the total number of buildings. If she spent 4 hours at each is telling us to multiply, so we would multiply the total of these buildings by 4. So that's what we're going to look for down here. We're going to look for 14 plus 15. It's going to need to be in parentheses times 4. We have 14 plus 15 plus 4, so we know that's not it. We have 15 minus 4. Well, y'all, we're not subtracting any 4 up here, so that can't be it. We've got 14 plus 15. We have times 4. How do we know this is times 4? Well, there's not a sign in between the number and the parentheses, so we know that means multiply. So this is an option. We've got 14 plus 15, so that adds her buildings, but this is divided by 4, and it's not division, guys, because she spent 4 hours at each building. So this is going to be our answer. All right. Oh, yay, we get to convert again. Okay, so again, guys, remember, when we convert, the first thing you ask yourself is it metric or is it U.S. customary? All right, well, we know that liters and meters and grams is metric. So as soon as you see these little symbols, you can go ahead and write, King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. You know this U stands for liters, meters, grams. This is our unit of measure. It's our basic unit of measure, okay? So, again, I'm going to erase this so we can use this to do our work. They have given us 3,430, and they gave us milliliters, okay? Well, where's our decimal in this number? Y'all, if there's not a decimal in the number, you know it's at the end. This is milliliters, so that means they're giving us this number, and they want us to convert it to liters. Well, liters is right here. It's our basic unit of measure. So if we're starting at milli and going to liters, we're going 1, 2, 3 times to the left, which means we have to take our decimal 1, 2, 3 times to the left, which means we end up with 3.430. Do we need to keep this 0? Absolutely not. So our 3,430 milliliters converts to 3 43/100 liters, which makes sense, guys, because milliliters are teeny, teeny, tiny, and liters are bigger. So this big, giant number of little teeny, tiny milliliters is going to convert to not as many liters, okay? All right. So we are looking at feet and yards, and y'all, you know that's U.S. customary. So you can use your little cheat sheet, and we're looking for feet and yards, which is right here. Well, the first thing you do when you see that's U.S. customary is you draw your shell. Okay, this is our shell for conversion. We write feet and yards because that's what we're converting to. We have 3 feet in 1 yard. So we write our normal our conversion rate, our one off our chart, goes in our first little fraction, okay? This is the first thing we write down, is whatever we get off of our reference sheet. Then we come back over here and say, okay, which one did they give us? Did they give us feet or yards? Well, they gave us the number for feet, so we have to put that number in the same place our feet is. Okay, then we say, well, we do our arrow method. Y'all are great at this. How did we get from 3 to 323? Well, we know we multiplied by something, but we might not know. So we're going to have to divide it to see. So we're going to divide this by 3 to see what we multiplied by. Well, 3 goes into 3 one time, and that gives us a 3. We bring down our 2. 3 does not go into 2 evenly. It doesn't go into 2 at all, sorry. So we have to put our 0. We bring down our 3. 3 goes into 23. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. It goes in 7 times. And that just gives us 21. So we have to subtract and we get a 2. Well, we're going to have to put a decimal. We're going to have to bring down a 0 because we got to keep going. 3 goes into 20. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It's going to go in 6 times. And then this is 18. And we're going to keep getting a 2, and we're going to keep getting a 2, and we're going to keep getting a 2. So this is going to be a 6 that never ends. Okay? Well, that makes things interesting because that means this number right here is a decimal. So our 323 feet is not going to turn into an even number, but we already did the division. So we know this number is 107.6 with a line over it, because this is really 107.66666 forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay? So that's a little bit of a strange conversion, but it's not always going to equal an even number, so that is okay. So we are writing 107.6 with a line over it. All right. We have gallons and pints, and this is where we can look at our gallon guide. Okay? This is also U.S. customary. So as soon as we see it's U.S. customary, we're going to draw our shell. And we're going to write gallons to pints. We're going to look over here. We're going to say how many pints are in a gallon? Well, there's 2 P's inside each Q, and there's 4 Q's, which is our quarts. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 8 pints inside our giant G. So we have 8 pints in our 1 gallon. Well, look over here. The number they gave us is 1/4 of a gallon. We don't want to put 1/4 on a fraction, so we're going to think, remember, every decimal has a fraction and every fraction has a decimal. So we're going to turn this 1/4. Remember when we put our 4 fingers out and I said, okay, each of these is a quarter. 4 quarters make a dollar. 4 quarters make a whole. If you have one of your 4 quarters, how much money do you have in this hand? Well, you have 25 cents. You have 1 quarter. So your 1/4 equals 0.25. Well, how do we get from 1 whole to 0.25? Well, 0.25 is less than a dollar, so we didn't multiply. We actually had to divide. Okay, so we're going to have to divide this, which again, this makes this very interesting. So we've got 0.25, sorry. We've got 0.25 divided by 1. Okay, wait, that can't be right. 1 times what is 0.25? 0.25. Yeah, I think this is how we need to do it. So I'm going to, well, it's going to end up as 0.25 though. 1/4 of a gallon. It's going to be 2, but I don't know how we got 2 out of this. Sorry, let me think about this for a while. Well, this is divided by 4, because 1 divided by 4 is 0.25. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to divide my whole. Sorry. Okay. I put the wrong thing in the house. My bad. Because y'all really haven't done a whole lot of dividing decimal by decimal. So you can't divide by decimal, guys. So you got to bring your decimal 2 over. You've got to turn this into a whole number. Well, if I take the decimal twice over in my divisor, I've got to take it twice over in my dividend. So I'm ending up with 100 divided by 25. Well, we already know 25 goes into 100 4 times. So 1 divided by 0.25 gave us 4. So we divided by 4 to get from 1 to 0.25. We divided by 4. Well, whatever we do on the top, we got to do on the bottom. And what is 8 divided by 4? Well, that gives us 2. So that means our 1/4 of a gallon, we turned it into a decimal, but our 1/4 of a gallon turns into 2 pints. So 1/4 of a gallon is going to equal 2 pints, which makes sense. Because if we look at our gallon guy, it's saying 1/4 of a gallon. Well, here is our fourths. Our fourths are actually quarts. Well, how many pints are in 1 quart? 2 pints. See, there's our 2 P's. So you could also solve this by just looking at the picture. All right, we have pounds and tons. We also know that is U.S. customary, so we're going to draw our shell. We've got pounds and we've got tons. We're going to look at our conversion sheet. And it says that there is 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So there's 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. We come back to our numbers that they gave us. They actually gave us pounds. So we have to put that number in the right place. We have to put it on the pounds line. So again, how did we get from 2,000 to 4,000? Well, we multiplied by 2. So if we multiplied by 2 here, we're going to multiply by 2 here. So that means our 4,000 pounds converts to 2 tons. All right. Says use the table that you made yesterday on Wednesday's problem number 5 to solve a word problem. So let's pull up that sheet. And it says, oh, it's our number line. Okay, so let's do a range question. So we can say, what is the range of the family members? Because that's what our dot plot was. Okay, our data was how many family members are in each people's family. So what is the range? Remember, hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle. You add then divide for the mean. The mode is the one that appears the most, and the range is the difference between. The range is the difference between the largest and the smallest. So for finding the difference between, our biggest is 7, our smallest is a 2. So the difference between 7 and 2 is going to be 7 minus 2, which is 5. So what is the range of family members? 5 members. That's the range. Okay? All right, we are going to multiply. We've got decimals in our numbers, so remember that's going to affect our answer, but not our multiplication. So 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 is 26, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. Cross off our 5, add our 0 placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. We add these together. We've got 0, we've got 12, carry the 1. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5, and our 1. Now, remember, we've got to go up here and look at our decimals. We have one number to the right of the decimal here. We have one number to the right of the decimal here. That makes 2. Our decimal is always at the end, so right now it's at the end, but we need to move it back 2 places, so we end up with 158 and 2/10. Now, you can put the 0, but this isn't money, so you really shouldn't put the 0, so this is our final answer. All right, we're dividing with the decimal in our dividend, so we're going to float that bobber. We're going to come over here, we're going to round our number. Is this closer to 30 or 40? It's closer to 30, so we're going to put a little 3 there, and that's going to be our friend for later. So we can ask ourselves about how many times is 32 going to go into 36? Well, about how many times does 3 go into 9? Well, it goes in 3 times exactly. So let's multiply this by 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. That gave us exactly 96, so 3 is exactly what we needed. Remember, I put that 3 above the 6, not above the 9, because 32 does not go into 9. It goes into 96. Well, that actually gave us 96. So we're going to bring down our next number. Well, does 32 go into 6? No. So you have to put a 0, guys, because if it doesn't go into a brand new number that you just brought down, you have to put a 0 in your quotient. Okay, we can now bring down our 4. We already know 32 doubled is 64, so that's going to give us a 2. So that was easy.